Hi everyone, don't know about you, but even though it's been a week, I think we've got enough stuff to talk about.
Oh, yeah.
So let's make it work, let's do the Top Drive show. We're going to go straight in with some of your questions. Thank you very much everybody who left one on the previous episode. You should know the rules by now. Go into the comment section, leave your question. If you see a question someone else has left, leave it a like because we look at the most liked comments first. And the most liked comment from this episode previous, winning a carbon fibre pack, goes to Andrew, who asks, we have a lot of rally cars in the game now. Will you include a WRC or rally tag to those cars and a proper challenge for them to specialise them away from all the other cars on the motorsport tag?
That is an excellent point. I know, yeah, I mean, they are. I think particularly with the last couple of updates, numbers of rally cars have definitely increased, and obviously they're a kind of very specialist vehicle.
Yeah. Quite a lot of them are prize cars.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
But there's still quite a
so
few.
we need to kind of figure out exactly how to tackle it. I know. I mean, I've been chatting with Robin about this actually, and I know he is quite keen to sort of introduce a greater ability to differentiate between road cars, sort of cars that are built for the road, even if they're sort of intended for track use. So road cars, concept cars, and motorsport cars.
Yeah.
And actually, it could be that motorsport breaks down into some subcategories.
So is that all through tags, or would it be even a?
That has not been decided
concept?
yet. It
Right.
might even be a higher level concept, just to really differentiate. Because I know we've had
So
people
you might
talking.
have like a road car event. So obviously the only things you can bring to a road car.
Yes, and in a way that would be the majority of events.
Right.
Because I know we've had some people comment that actually kind of it's almost a little bit unfair to the road cars that concept cars are allowed to come along, because in a way concept cars don't need to go through the process of proving their figures.
Right.
A lot
And
of
being
them,
safe enough to be allowed on the road.
yes,
and all that
yeah,
kind
they
of
can
stuff.
they can be utterly crazy and get away with it. So that is in the works. Again, I can never commit to dates really,
No.
but I know that is in the works. And actually, I think it's probably a kind of maybe I'll speak to Robin, but I think maybe even in the short term we look at using tags to separate out the rally stuff.
Yeah.
So good
There you
point.
go. Good
Cool.
point. Yeah.
Then we've got a question. The question that I've got here in particular comes from FBI, so I hope that the Bureau is enjoying Top Drives. But there are a lot of other questions similar to it, so I'm going to bunch them all together. We have questions about clubs and club rewards.
Yeah.
So have we got anything that we can say about what we're doing with club rewards?
Well, yeah, loads. It's all going on. It's all we talk about every day now.
That's why we're back so soon.
It's all everybody in the community talks about every day right now. Yeah, it's a big deal, isn't it? It's a big deal. All right. So there's clearly a lot going on. We've run one season of clubs. We took a look at how that worked, and we're like, all right, okay, and we changed some things around. We increased the rewards a little bit, and now we're in the middle of that second one. And now we're like, okay, how is this working? How should the third season run? And what's going on with dailies? Exactly, and what's going on with how much people are playing it and how much they're making and what's it doing to the economy. All of these questions we're looking at right now, and really there's just so much to talk about the design of the game and how it works and what it all means and why we make the decisions we do. It's a big topic, so I think we should just get into that right now. Let's do some of that, right?
Yeah.
Okay, alright, so first of all I think the top question on people's minds is like, oh, there's clubs here, dailies have gone away, why did you take away dailies? And even though we said from the beginning when we first mentioned it, it's like, oh, we're reimagining dailies. It's like, instead of this thing that you do every day, which is boring and apparently everybody hates, except now everybody loves them, you'll do this other thing which is way more interesting and engaging instead. That was the idea, and fundamentally we do that because we don't want to, this isn't the end. We're going to keep adding new things you do in Top Drives, but you've got to be careful how you do that because you don't want to add more and more things you have to do every day. So you can do everything you need to do in a day in an hour, and we had a few more features. Now you have to spend 2 hours playing the game, now you have to spend 4 hours playing the game, and the people who can't do that feel like they're not catching up.
Yeah, that's a very real issue, isn't it? It's great that people are enjoying the game so much, but we do we can't be can't overwhelm people with sort of that default level of playing the game and feeling like you're taking part can't be too huge.
Yeah, and already you can spend, I think before clubs came in, you could spend about 3 hours a day, depending quite how you count it, depending on what you're doing, if you're trying to make the most out of every ticket and do every single thing you can, which is a lot, and a lot more than most people put in. Like, there's a very tiny number of players are really putting that in every single day. So there's that. And then the other aspect is, if we just keep on piling in prizes and prizes and prizes, you end up with a strange inflation economy, and you're making 30,000 cash a day, and now you're making 50,000, 100,000, 200,000. And what does that do to everything? Like, when you're playing RQ Limited events, and already people are like, oh, everybody already has the best cars upgraded, it's boring. Yeah. It's like, the more money and more everything everybody has, the more quickly that happens, the more everybody gets everything that they need already. So there's a difficult balance there. So for those sorts of reasons, it seemed like it made sense, like, okay, take everything that Dailies is doing, but it's repetitive and boring, and replace it with a way more diverse, interesting, varied thing that does a lot of the things players were asking for. And then we haven't increased, we haven't changed the economy too much, and it should all hold together. But it is very different, and there is a particular reason it's massively different, as I think everybody watching this show is going to know, but not all the players that play Top Drives know, is the whole farming or smarfing thing in the daily, right? Which wasn't there by design, but in a way beautifully emerged as players discovered it, and then were able to cooperate with each other and make this thing work. Initially, people put in their best cars, and it was hard to get 3-star wins against the people you're up against. So you say, what if I put in my rubbish cars, go to the bottom of the leaderboard, and find some people who don't have good cars, and then I can get some 3-star wins against them. And that works okay, and then you rise up again. But then more and more people start doing that, and then it's really easy to get 3-star wins because there's other people who've come down with their terrible cars, and before you know it, that's what the game is. And I've got involved. That's what I'm doing. New daily comes around, get straight in there with the absolute worst cars, put in a load of losses, sink to the bottom of the leaderboard, go to bed. That's how it works in the UK time zone. And then you get up and you go, right, I'll bring my slightly better cars and get 3 stars against everybody with the worst, and then come back a few hours later with slightly better cars, and so on. And it works, and you're making all this money, but it's like, that's weird for the core experience of the game. And sometimes players point that out, it's like, oh, what do you do in this game? Well, what you do is you play your worst cars, and you try to lose as much as possible, and then you play very slightly better ones, hoping that you'll lose to other people. Like, what are you doing? What's it about? Collecting cars and losing? It's sort of weird, and it felt like, what if you could do all that, but you're having an interesting experience where you're trying to win all the time? Surely that would be better. So that is what we tried to do, but clearly, even though dailies, I think, were the most criticised event we've ever had, that people are missing a lot of elements of dailies.
Yep.
Right. So and we are listening. We're like, okay, what is it? What's missing? We don't really want to just go, okay, here's exactly clubs and here's dailies, because we don't want that inflation thing and more time demands on you. So we're looking to find out, how can we alter the pacing of clubs? How can we add new features to it? Or how can we alter what events happen and how they work in tandem with it, so to get some of what the people are asking for.
Yeah. It's definitely. You sort of made the point there, but it's. I guess kind of people who are around at the very, very beginning will realise. Events have just evolved hugely from the first iteration of them.
This, yeah.
In terms of the kind of the cadence of them and things like that, they're completely different. So definitely.
There were like 15 events in a month.
Yeah.
And now we're up to about 40 or so now, as we've added more and more.
Yeah.
So and you couldn't pick who to fight, like all these tiny weird things about it now, which would be inconceivable if we went back to it. Yeah. I should say as well, there is one bug that slipped through in club events that we missed, and as loads of people have seen, you fight bots way too often.
Oh yeah.
That's about 50% of races are against bots, and it's not supposed to be like that.
Yeah.
People are like, this is boring, why is it bots all the time? Yes, it should not be bots all the time.
Yeah.
We're working on that.
There's a couple of comments in there as well. I haven't put them on this list, but I've seen them that people are like, oh, fighting against all them bots?
Yeah. That's not what it was supposed to be.
Yeah, sorry about that.
We're trying to make those bots go away. Again, it reminds me of the first version of events. Do you remember the bots you fight? They used to be in the leaderboard.
That was good.
Yeah, taking up spaces. And sometimes there would be, what was it? There would be like an event where they actually had pretty good cars,
Yes,
and then they'd be
just
taken
because-
at the top of the
Well, it was
leaderboard.
the only chance that I had to win anything, so I had to do it, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
that was a bit silly. So it's a bit like that. There's bots, are having their revenge. We're going to get rid of them again. They should not be there that much.
Yeah.
But anyway, we're listening. We're going to change things. I was going to talk about a higher level design element. I think we can do this in the show. I think people are ready for it, right? Right. There's a thing in free to play games where you have to judge how much you can make in a game and how much you can play it quite carefully, because radically different people are playing. Some people can play for 5 minutes every few hours, and other people can sit down and play for 2 hours 4 times a day. And if you can make money exactly in proportion to how much time you can spend in the game, that's actually terrible for the balance, because you end up with some people making 10 times as much as other people every day, and there's no chance at all, and you quickly give up. And so what most free-to-play games do to get around this is, one way or another in the design, it's possible with a little bit of time to make quite a bit of money, and as you put more and more time in, you get more money, but you sort of get less and less. So it sort of just curves off gently. That's the theory, and that way, even the people who are quite time poor can be pretty competitive, and the people who really want to put loads of time can get an advantage, but not an overwhelming advantage.
Yep.
And club mode is better at doing that. In fact, club mode has the most efficient we've had, if you're very time poor, we've ever had. If you're on holiday and you can't play top drives at all, if you can just get one club mode in it and do one race, you'll get the prize for the season end, and maybe your team will have even won for you. And so that will be an incredibly efficient race. That will be great. On the other hand, there's been people saying that I did 42 races and all I got for it was 3,000 cash. It's like, yes, that is not the best way to put 42 races into club mode. That's not playing it the best way. That's like, I played the daily mode with my best cars and I could only turn over 10 prize cards. It's like, yeah, the best way to do it is this other thing, which gets you about 50. So it's like there's an element of like, what's the best way to play, and then what's the best way to use your time, and how does that fit in? But it is a big change, and some people are finding a difference, or they absolutely play dailies to the best possible way that they could, and now they're coming into club mode and they've not found the best way to do it yet. So they're like, oh, where's all the things? This is all wrong. So there's a certain amount of learning to do as well. But there's also how it feels. Prize cards, right? Turning them over and getting D and E cards. That's not happening anymore. You're getting the money instead. That's what we put in. But like people are like, oh, but I want to be collecting them and using them to fuse. That's true. That's a good point. So we're looking at ways to like, oh, how can we somehow supplement that, bring more of that in. That's definitely something we can review for sure. I don't know. I've got a lot of opinions about this. I've been playing it a lot.
And so does everybody. Like, thank you very much as well for registering your concerns, not only in the YouTube comment section but everywhere else. It is really interesting to read your personal testimonies on what's going on.
Yeah.
It is great. I mean, we have the map being sort of the event map being projected up onto one of the big TVs here, and it's it's great. I mean, the team love it. I mean, the
we
whole
didn't
studio
know
loves it.
what would happen.
Yeah,
'cause you just can't. You could make a simulation of like, how's this going to play out, but that would be entirely based on your assumptions on what people would do, which won't be correct. I found it fascinating. I'm on Legacy myself. We had a brilliant sort of comeback at the end of season 1, and like, yeah, I knew we could do it. And then come season 2, looks like the other teams are like, right,
yes,
no, get back in your box.
There's
Legacy.
definitely a bit of ganging up going on.
Yeah, it's been a hard fight, and that was sort of supposed to be part of the idea of having 3 teams. Was like, even if one of them's better, the other 2 can go, no, right, that's it, you're too good, we're going to focus on you. That does appear to be happening. We'll see how it goes in season 3.
Fancy. Okay, good. All right, let's go to some more questions.
Yeah.
Well done to Ultra Tech 66 for getting a carbon fiber pack, for asking, have you ever thought about making the speed-based races like the 0 to 150 test bowl or whatever longer? It could bring more purpose to the top speed figure.
Oh, right. Okay. So, I mean, even on the high-speed bowl, some cars don't reach their top speed.
Yep.
They can get there, can get close. Some of them actually can't even get close because it takes an incredibly long time. So I guess you could have a super high speed bowl where you go around it twice and you've got a chance.
Okay, so this is it's I'm trying to think of the best way. Yeah, I guess we've kind of stayed away from it in a sense, in that, like you say, there's, depending on the car, the journey to a car's top speed can be very, very long and not particularly exciting.
Yeah.
It's the acceleration curves on a lot of cars. I mean, it completely depends. It depends on the aerodynamics, the kind of the gearing, the kind of range of the engine, things like that.
Yeah.
But for a lot of cars, it is a crawl up to the top speed.
Yeah.
So it was something that I guess we've kind of stayed away from a little bit. There is a it's not the point of the question at all, but there is a twist on the sort of up to a top speed challenges that I quite like, which is actually stopping at a point challenges, which I think might be quite a fun new addition at some point.
Right.
So that's a kind of, both cars have to stop at a certain point of sort of no return, and so it's almost a kind of case of accelerate up as high as you can possibly get to, and then the game knowing kind of when to slam on the brakes in order that they get down to zero at that point. So
Yeah,
I think
there's a time challenge.
yeah, so I mean we are definitely looking at ways to kind of mix up the challenges a little bit, but I think I'm not sure they would be the most interesting challenges.
Yeah,
if we up if we really kind of raise the speed a lot.
because the longer that you make the race go on for, the more numerically dry it becomes, because then it's all about the single number on the card.
Yes.
Yeah.
Whereas previously it's about the relationship between those numbers.
Yeah.
When the
Test
race
bowl
is
kind
shorter.
of is. Look at that. Okay. So I was my third big prize car. I actually got the Chrysler ME 412.
Ooh.
So I've been very lucky with McLarens over the years. I've got hardly any Porsches, and I've got like 5 McLarens somehow. It's gone crazy. So, and then that was the whole thing, right? They wanted to reach 250 miles per hour,
Yep.
top speed, and they couldn't quite. Beautiful thing about it is if you upgrade it just the basic amount, you get 250 as the top speed.
Oh,
Okay.
why didn't GM think of that?
You see, you just had to
All they
spend
had to
about
do,
$9,000 cash on upgrades actually
Yeah.
to get there. That's how it works. But if I go on the test bowl with it, I reached 214. And I
Okay.
was like, I wanted to reach 250. Probably even 2 runs of the test bowl, you're probably not going to get there though.
I'm not sure. Yeah, this is the thing. The length of straight you need for a proper high speed run is just unbelievable. People maybe will have seen the kind of Top Gear episodes and things like that when they ran a Veyron up to its top speed, and I mean it's a huge straight that you need, and you have to come off. You almost have to come onto the straight. We'd have to probably do a rolling challenge.
Yeah.
Where you actually start
Yeah.
at sort of 150 miles an hour or something like that. So it's not. I mean, we like I say, we're definitely always looking at new challenges. I'm sort of working on some of those myself at the moment, and one of them is intended to be an ultra high speed challenge.
Right.
So I think
See what we
that
can
hopefully
do.
there'll be some
I
things.
suppose the other thing is it's not just like top trumps. It's not just like who has the highest top speed. Me.
Yeah. Yep.
The game is actually about like no, we want to actually use more of the physics and simulate races and who would win.
Yes.
It's not just one stat because that would be a little bit more boring.
Yeah, and I think that's the thing. I'd say anything under 150, and particularly the kind of the 60 times and the 100 times, that's when you almost get the differences in the cars coming out. So you can have cars that are very, very fast off the line,
Yeah.
but then with the kind of other cars where their long legs kind of of their engine kick in, and they're fast. But above a sort of 150, there's a little bit less interesting stuff going on. But always looking at it. So
Yeah.
Okay, cool. All right, let's carry on. So, Guifas Gaming asking, what will the next big thing on Top Drives be? Ooh. What?
We just got the first one. We're still
know.
working on it. Oh, okay.
Well, now we need another big thing.
I've seen.
Can we
this.
say
There's another.
there is a big
another
thing?
There is. This is on the list.
Quite a big thing.
It's quite a big thing. But we talked about clubs really much too early. I think in retrospect, it's very fair to say that.
We hyped it up.
So big things. There's another big thing, but we're
Yep.
not going to be talking about things early anymore. Sorry, that doesn't go well.
Yeah.
I think this one's going to be more straightforward, though.
And
I'm
more
just gonna
popular,
I'm
definitely.
going to put that out there.
Yeah,
More straightforward.
easier, popular, better. It'll be great. But don't hold your breath.
Okay,
But
well,
we're working on it.
Let's just carry on then. The next question comes from Weston S. Why did you not add Jeep during the American Dream update? I want to see my car in game.
What does he say? What his car is?
Just that it's a Jeep.
A Jeep.
Yeah.
We are also very keen to get Jeep in. Just is just one of those, a great manufacturer.
Yeah.
Some very kind of iconic cars over the years, and also some a few very, very rapid cars in recent years that would be nice to add to the game. It is just I mean, what are we at now? It's sort of around, I think what's it, around 1,500 cars in the game. We need to speak to every single manufacturer and get the content from Evo and sign off all that content with the manufacturers. So that's quite a significant process. I think in the early days, and I don't honestly know the reason, but Jeep were not sort of forthcoming with their sort of interest in being in the game. That might not be right. There might have been another complication around it.
Okay.
But they now are interested, or there's now a conversation going on. So
Okay.
I would like to think that Jeep will be appearing at some point in the future.
Cool.
Cool.
I'm going to nip a few questions in the bud here. We had a lot of questions again about people saying, I want to do friend 1v1s and sandbox testing. We know.
Yeah.
We know you want
Yes.
that.
Yeah.
We've answered that
Covered that
question
one, yeah.
before. So thank you to the 5 or 6 people who left that question this episode.
I really want Friends top drives. I just
Top drives with
Top friends.
yeah. It would just be great.
Yeah, well, there we are. Okay, then. So the last question that we're going to do today, winning a carbon fiber pack, comes from Adam Yugasek, asking, for the next Top Drive show, can we have a guessing game? Example: you take turns thinking of one of the cars in Top Drives, and we have to guess which car you're thinking of in the comments. Winner gets a carbon fiber pack. Now, you see, I think this is quite a good idea. We were throwing around the idea of having like mini games inside of Top Drives, and I think this could be a fun one. Of course, thankfully for the viewers, TopDrives.club exists, which means that we're going to have to be very creative with our guesses in order to make it hard. But yeah, maybe we'll try that later.
I'd be up for trying that.
But yeah, for the suggestion, you can have a carbon fiber pack, Adam. Thanks for your question. While we're here, since we're doing an episode sort of a little bit off kilter because we missed a week and now we're back straight away, but we've got a prize car coming up within like a week or so.
Yeah.
So let's talk about the prize car coming up next.
Yeah.
The 1999 Renault Sport Laguna BTCC car, which is quite exciting, really. Full-on track-based racing car, slick tyres. Prepared by Williams, so it's got some pretty impressive sort of heritage there, and it's one of those cars. I mean, had a very successful in touring cars. I mean, this is the British Touring Car Championship that this particular car was prepared for. Had a really impressive run for quite a number of years in that series when it was a big. I mean, it was a big thing, that championship. Very high profile, and it was just amazing because the Laguna. I mean, not going to criticize the normal road going Laguna, but it was, it served its purpose as a car, to get you around, and then you got sort of Williams and kind of Renault Sport sort of coming together and just preparing it's just a great. It just looks great. It's got really. I mean, a lot of those cars did, but it sits on its wheels very nicely. It's a very sort of vague term.
Well.
Yes, wears them well. In terms of kind of in the game, you're looking kind of 92 handling, so it's pretty high.
It's tied for highest in handling in the French category.
Okay. Yes.
With the Chiron Sport.
Yes.
So
yeah. So it's right up there. Performance is solid. I mean, these cars were powerful, but not crazy powerful. I mean, they're sort of relatively small engine. They didn't go mad on the engines, but not 16.4.5 seconds, 160 miles an hour. It's decent, but it's really, I guess, for this car, the big thing is that the handling, and then combined with the fact that it only weighs 975 kilograms.
Right.
I mean, it's basically a shell. Some lovely suspension and brake components, lightweight wheels, and a fairly small lightweight engine. So there's not a lot to it. So combined, I think probably I'll run a quick challenge, which I think demonstrates I guess its party trick here, is that you just line one up against Bugatti Chiron, in a slalom.
RQ30 versus RQ23.
Yeah, and I think you'll see that the Chiron bursts off the line, which
Yeah,
it always
not
does.
sexy.
But then it's the handling and the lightness. I mean, the Chiron's 91 handling, but the 92 handling for the Laguna, and that lightness
Right.
just means it can just get around those cones even faster than the Bugatti Chiron.
The Chiron's pretty heavy, right? So
It is quite heavy.
That's-
Yes, yeah.
that's true.
That's where the kind of weight.
But it's got the 0 to 60.
doesn't help it.
Right.
And then if it's an Epic, obviously the Laguna. So if you start upgrading that,
Right.
I've sort of run a few other tests, and it starts beating some pretty big
Legendary
stuff.
competition.
Yes,
Mm.
yeah. On anything. So kind of indoor karting, twisty circuits. Actually, car park is another favourite
Yeah.
for this car.
Yeah.
So,
As long as it's not raining.
Yes, obviously slick tires, so
Good.
keep to the dry tarmac,
Yeah.
and you'll be happy.
Righto. And so we're recording this. It's a Thursday now, and I think so. If the maths works out, then you'll be able to fight for this in about 5 days to a week, depending on when the episode is out.
Yeah.
I did, yeah. I found, I think it's almost the very car for sale, but it was unfortunately it's in an auction, and it was 2 years ago, so I'm pretty sure that auction will have happened.
How much
Okay.
did it go for?
It had, actually I'm not sure, but
Oh.
it was on for £80,000 to £120,000,
Okay,
which that seems.
that's good value. You know,
Nice.
if you want to pick one up, just
And
go to your local.
It says it's in immaculate condition, and
Yeah.
it was raced by Jason Plato, so it's got some history.
Must be
Nice.
good.
Yeah.
All right,
Yeah.
good. Okay, so I think that's everything we have to talk about today. Is that right?
Well, yeah. I think
Cool.
so. I mean,
Alright.
just to draw a line on it, clubs and club events. It's ongoing. We're listening. We're going to try some
Yeah.
different things. We're going to change it. In case you missed that.
Improve.
Yeah,
the
I mean, the
loads.
comments and
work in
progress.
progress.
Feedback are exactly what we want.
Yeah.
Yep.
Really want to turn it into
Absolutely.
something that is everybody is getting the most out of.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Okay, well, we're going to go do that. And in the meantime, thank you very much for playing Top Drives. And this has been the Top Drive Show.